President Buhari commiserates with government and people of Zamfara State on killing of innocent citizens by bandits in Safi local government area. Nigerian army acquires combat drones to complement strategies towards curbing kidnapping and other heinous crimes. Plus, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo explains to Nigerians in New York latest strategies put in place at addressing insecurity in the country. These and more on Panorama today with me, Jummai Yusuf. We shall be right back. How can we collectively address the security challenges in Nigeria? That was the dominant questions of Nigerians in the diaspora to Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo at the town hall meeting in New York. Joy Osiagu reports that Nigerians in the diaspora listened with rapt attention as Professor Osinbajo revealed the latest strategies to address insecurity.
The engagement with the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, was fulfilling for the critical number of Nigerians from different parts of America. Given the varied interests in the country, the discussions were very passionate and dramatic. The Vice President says Nigeria is on the path to greatness and challenged those who peddle narratives of disunity to focus more on the laudable initiatives of government for constructive engagement to speed up the process of economic recovery.
I can assure you, looking at all of the parameters and looking at where we're headed, that the difficulties in our country, as the challenges we have, are slight. They are surmountable and they will be surmountable.
Nigerians are happy to note that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari laid a solid foundation in the last 4 years.
To my fellow Nigerians in diaspora, teamwork is key to being more impactful. We cannot continue in disunity. We cannot continue in name-calling, big We cannot continue with our religious and tribal wars and expect a positive change.
The town hall meeting focused on critical areas of the economy and how Nigerians in the diaspora can support the federal and state governments from the wealth of knowledge. In Manhattan, New York, Joy Osiagu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the government and people of Zamfara State on the recent infiltration of bandits who killed several innocent citizens in Safi local government area of the state. A statement by the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, says President Buhari describes the bandit attacks as callous and despicable, assuring the people of Zamfara and other Nigerians who have lost loved ones to violent attacks that the government under his watch will soon bring such dastardly acts to an end, while urging law enforcement agencies to take prompt and timely actions against the weekend attackers. President Buhari appeals to citizens to have faith in the security agencies by giving them useful information on plans and the movements of the bandits. Shock, disbelief and mourning best describes the mood of the people of a boundary community of Konkom and Izoma in Oyibo local government area of Rivers State, who are counting their losses following a pipeline explosion in the area in the early hours of yesterday. Osinachi Abraham, who visited the area, reports that efforts are still on by multinationals to put out the inferno.
According to eyewitness report, over 30 bodies have been buried in a shallow grave some meters away from the explosion. The journey to the site of the incident was a hectic one, as no vehicle could access both sides of the pipeline, except for the use of motorbike, popularly known as Okada, and a 2-kilometer trekking into the green area to have a proper view of the incident. The exploded pipeline, which supplies petroleum products to the eastern parts of Nigeria, is said to be undergoing routine maintenance, while some youths were scooping spilled products around the site before the explosion occurred. The chief security officer of Oyibo local government area, Prince Gerald Ofoji, described the incident as unfortunate, traumatic, and a setback to the economic growth and development of the area.
People that lost their lives today never believed it would happen. simply because they want to make quick money. So it's so unfortunate. I believe they have been doing it all this while and they've been lucky, but this time around they are so unlucky. So it's quite disheartening.
River State Police Public Relations Officer Nnamdi Omoni, on a telephone interview, said investigation into the cause of the explosion is still on and will be made public. As at the time of filing in this report, residents of the affected communities who are still living in fears called on relevant authorities and the federal government to come to their rescue. From Oyibo local government area of River State, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
President Buhari has asked for a thorough investigation to determine what is responsible for the gas pipeline tragedy in Oyibo local government area of River State, in which several fatalities were reported. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, who stated that the incident, which reportedly occurred in Kamkom community of the local government area on Saturday, occurred when workers were fixing a faulty section of the pipeline. The President, who is extremely pained by the losses of life in the incident, expresses his condolences to the families of the victims and to the government and people of River State. The Nigerian army says it will continue to deploy cutting-edge technology towards combating insecurity in the country. This was at the induction of 2 drones to complement strategies towards curbing kidnapping and other heinous crimes in Ondo and Ekiti states.
That is the latest gadget added to the 323 Artillery Brigade inventory in its quest to be on top of its game in combating crime. The Phantom 4 drone is an intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance platform that can go as far as 7 kilometers and can equally fly above 10,000 feet. This platform, according to the Commander 323 Artillery Brigade, will be added to logistics of the anti-kidnapping squad of the Army.
We have 2, one for Ondo and the other one for Ekiti. The 2 anti-kidnap squad will have each one mounted on a vehicle. Once there's issue of kidnapping, they will go there, try to locate the place, and the places that they cannot enter. This device is the latest in the market, but this place is a very thick forest, and that's the advantage some of the criminals are using. Some places you cannot penetrate them easily.
The Nigerian Army says it will not rest on its oars towards tackling insecurity and defending the nation's territorial integrity. In Akure, Olajide, Bello, NTA News.
The Federal Capital Territory Police Command says it is all out in the fight against drug abuse in the territory. FCT Commissioner of Police Bala Chiroma said this while parading 50 suspects caught in various crimes in different parts of the territory. Sefia Nyoma Uche reports.
Research reveals nearly 15% of the adult population in Nigeria, that is around 14.3 million people, reported a considerable use of the psychoactive substance. This rate is much higher than the 2016 global average of 5.6%. This has become worrisome as the youth in Nigeria now find drug abuse trendy, leading to the fight against drug abuse by the FCT Command's anti-narcotic, saying there is a link between drug abuse and crime, and their fight yielded results as they smashed 5 drug peddlers in Gwarimpa, Galadimawa, Karo, and Abuul.
Special operation carried out by the unit led to the recovery of 14 substances suspected to be cocaine, 292 wraps of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp, diazepam tablets, tramadol tablets, rochi tabs, and other illicit drugs.
One Usman Awalu of Rugan Fulani in Kwali Area Council was caught after a distress call, and he made shocking revelation.
Normally, I send me some go call person here. If you're a woman, I 160. If you're a man, I 170. I don't call for go giver.
He did fake appointment letters For my friends, 3 of my friends.
Others paraded were one-chance robbers, drug peddlers, rape suspects, arrest and recovery of fake currency, armed robbers, and fraudsters. The command assures residents of its commitment to protection of lives and property while calling on them to be vigilant always. Safia Noma Uche, NTA News.
Away from security to agriculture. The federal government has commenced an inventory of projects executed under the World Bank Agricultural Intervention Program, known as FADAMA. This is coming as the financial support given to the program by the World Bank ends. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
The World Bank Intervention Program is built on 5 components towards boosting Nigeria's agricultural activities and rural development. This consists of extension services, marketing of farm produce, access to loan facility and rural infrastructural development, including roads and markets. The initiative is designed to support cluster farming to increase production of cassava, rice, sorghum and horticulture value chains.
FADAMA, which has been on the ground for the past 25 years, has presented a landmark in the Nigerian agricultural sector.
This meeting of relevant key players from 17 states across the northern Nigeria is looking at achievements recorded by the World Bank Agriculture Intervention Program.
And to hold dialogue with state government to ensure that the legacies that have been established by this project are not allowed to die with the project.
So we created a FCA, Panorama Federated, that will sustain what we have done. They may be looking for a way to find a revenue that will sustain them and what we have done to them.
Reports indicated that a total of 1.5 million metric tons of rice paddy was added to the nation's rice production food supply since the project's inception. Farmers produced 1.16 million tons of tomatoes, which is about 53% of the national annual production. Cassava, worth 41 billion naira under the project, was also produced and processed. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's take a short break now. Panorama continues shortly. Welcome back to Panorama. In 2003, the United Nations General Assembly, in its resolution, designated 23rd of June every year as the United Nations Public Service Day to celebrate the virtue and value of public service to the community. The day also marks the anniversary of the date when the International Labour Organization adopted the Convention on Labour Relations, a framework for determining working conditions for all civil servants across the world. Adebola Brooks's Sunday in this special report takes a look at the implementation of reforms towards repositioning the public service in Nigeria.
Civil servants play a vital role in the development of any nation. This is because they form larger percentage of the workforce in the public sector, and they are responsible for the implementation of government policies and programs.
Workers are the wealth creators of the economy, so they deserve a fair deal.
It is often said that an effective and efficient civil service will in turn bring out a performing government. Realizing this, Nigeria government has been all out to make life better for the nation's public servants through reforms, better remuneration, incentives, training, and provision of facilities.
IPIS until now was just being driven on one leg, and that's the payroll module. But we have now introduced the full HRM module of IPIS, which has the sub-modules of learning modules. We have the sub-module for performance management. We have reintroduced the structured mandatory training program.
The curriculum of our training programs has changed. It now has the ICT component, the entrepreneurship component, and the third part of it is the e-learning platform itself.
In performing their duties, the need to develop a risk assessment profile in terms of threats and hazards is one area the federal government is looking at in the formulation of policy. To encourage civil and public servants, the Assembly adopted that on the day a prestigious UN Public Service Awards be given
And in line with this, the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation ratified and adopted the expansion of rewards and recognition scheme proposal for workers.
And one of the ways to get our people to work hard is by institutionalization of rewards and recognition.
It's a good step in the right direction, and we must give kudos to His Excellency, the Mr. President.
As civil servants join their counterparts the world over in commemorating the day, and as governments continue to introduce programs that will better equip them, it is expected that public servants in Nigeria will in turn put in their best towards building a greater nation. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Still with the United Nations designated day, June 23rd of every year has been set aside by the United Nations to mark International Widows' Day. To commemorate the day, Rock of Ages Empowerment Foundation has reached out to more than 68 widows through cash donations and other empowerment kits. Kandi Olale has details.
Esther Kelvin lost her husband to the cold hands of death in 2016, and since then, she has had to take up the responsibility of being the breadwinner for her 3 children. Her story is not so different from these women who became widows at different stages of their lives. They have not given up as they're determined to keep hope alive and do what it takes to cater for their children, despite the rejection and discrimination from society.
It has been so tough, but with God, I know that all things is possible, and especially now that our daddy IG Newman, have been taking control. Because without him, I don't even know whether I'm still here. But because the way he has been helping me and my kids, the way he has been empowering us, at least now we can see the way things is.
Today, these women have reasons to smile, as the Rock of Ages Empowerment Foundation has not only empowered them, but also given them a sense of belonging in the society.
Make sure that poverty is eradicated. It's not even to be alleviated. We want it to completely to be taken away. That these women could sleep and sleep well. I'm not sleeping and be crying. I'm not sleeping and thinking what is the next thing I will do tomorrow.
Just like the theme for this year's celebration, the mood of these women says it all. They're hopeful for better days ahead. In Abuja, Kendi Olale, NTA News.
There's always joy in giving. A building at number 35 at Desayo area of Oshodi in Lagos State collapsed Sunday morning. Officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency said 3 people trapped in the building were rescued and are responding to treatment in the hospital. No death was recorded. The officials say all buildings around the area will be subjected to solid material testing. The preservation of history is a unique way of protecting the culture of people from going into extinction. This has been done in various ways, including archaeological discovery of past events. It is in the light of this that pilgrims from Nigeria to the land of Israel visited Qumran Archaeological Park and the Mount of Temptation. Dele Atumbi reports that the discovery at the park was a confirmation of the 5 books in the Old Testament of the Bible.
Qumran is an archaeological site that is located on a dry plateau in the Jordanian desert of the West Bank, where the first 5 books of the Old Testament of the Bible were discovered. The site of Qumran is made up of various caves believed to have been occupied by a religious sect numbering about 200 inhabitants. The first 5 books in the Old Testament were discovered from some of these caves in 1946. The discovery of about 900 scrolls, including the books of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, in these caves, experts say, is a testimony to the existence of the religious sects.
But they call themselves Yachad. Yachad is together, live together. It was a community, closed community, mostly for men. They were writing the scrolls.
In 1948, a shepherd boy was shepherdding, and he threw a stone, and the stone fell inside a cave, and there was a sound. Then he alarmed the archaeologists. They came. When they dug, they dig and found some scroll inside a pot, sealed and buried into the ground, where the whole 66 books of the scriptures were discovered.
Pilgrims' visits to the Mount of Temptation in Jericho is more revealing of what Jesus Christ passed through to bring salvation. The pilgrims beseech God for the good of the nation, Nigeria, and the people.
It was recorded in the scriptures that Satan came and tempted him 3 times. But in the end, Jesus overcame. And that was the beginning of another victory, which we celebrate.
So if we look at the life of Jesus Christ and we pick a cue from him, I believe that it's going to be very helpful for us going forward to ensure that we are not greedy, we are not covetous.
A month of temptation where Jesus was tempted after 40 days fasting. Daily Atumbi, NTA News.
Walking for 30 kilometers requires a lot of stamina, and that was the challenge taken up by personnel in the annual Nigerian Navy Route March organized in Abuja. Correspondent Nja Tijani has details.
Known for combat readiness in defense of Nigeria's maritime territory, personnel of the Nigerian Navy are putting their physical fitness to the test with this route march. Spanning 30 kilometers, the fitness exercise is also a test of mental alertness and endurance, which the representative of the Chief of Naval Staff says is pertinent to maritime operations.
Once more, dedication to duty and unflinching support to our growing democracy and constituted authority remains sacrosanct to all of us.
Not everyone will be expected to undertake such exertions. However, experts say walking 30 minutes 5 times a week has benefits for adults, including reducing the risk for diabetes and cardiovascular disease, among others. Perhaps walking every day keeps the doctor away? Well, the personnel of the Nigerian Navy seem to think so. Nja Tijani, NTA News.
And now sports update with Daniel.